10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spies Like Us. Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd.
We've got a very special assignment for you two.
Hey, Bill! Oh,
This is my sister. You can all have her.
you want some coffee? That's a good idea.
Let me see that.
Hey, come on.
Honestly, you two are unbelievable.
Stop!
Every minute you don't tell us why you're here, I cut off a finger.
Mine or yours?
Yours.
Damn.
Go! Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
Chevy Chase.
Get it the hell out of here!
Dan Aykroyd. To think my high school guidance counselor said I'd never amount to anything. Spies Like Us.
We're Americans!
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly, which actually gets mentioned in the movie.
Yes, it does.
Welcome to That 70s Rock Fan Cult Comedy Crew today, where we're going to talk classic comedy of the past. That trailer, you may know, was a little bit weird audio-wise. I had to really dial the music down in it so that it wouldn't get copyright claimed or struck. So it sounded a bit weird. My apologies for that. But
Yeah, I was going to say that
basically had to scrub the music out of it. So
gotcha.
the best I could do with the tools at my disposal, as they say. So welcome very much to the show, everybody. Hello. I noticed that the chat on screen thing is still switched on from the gaming show that we did.
Yeah.
Which was fun. I think we may do that again next week. I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Flip-flop things, man. Talk about music one week.
Sitting playing games. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Good. And you telling me how bad I was. How awful.
I did not tell you how bad you were. I was trying to help. Stop.
At some point, I'll figure out how to switch that chat off the screen. I could leave it up, of course. What does it matter? You know. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Good to see you all here. We've already got a big crowd, and we have some super chats. And I have to tell you once again, I am so grateful for those who support the channel, both with subscribing, watching, super chatting, memberships, all that stuff, which keeps an old man from sleeping cold and homeless in the street. Well, I still have to do that, but I can at least afford once a month a cup of coffee as a result of all the.
So you have to take the little things where you can get.
That's what my wife said. Yeah. I have to take the little things. So thank you for those. We're going to get those super chats. First of all, we have from our great friend Tim, FKHC 2005, a Shiba dog with a big smile on his face, tilting his head for $2. Thank you very much, my friend. As usual, I like to promise videos for people that do things like contribute and super chat. So here's one for you as a former hockey goalie. Good old hockey
game right there, folks. A goalie punching somebody. That's
the good old hockey game. Yes. Yes, thank you very much, Tim, for that. let's see. You did another one. This is so good of you to support us like this, Tim. $2 from FKHC 2005. There ain't nobody that spies like us, and you're absolutely correct. There ain't nobody that spies like us here. So you deserve another video for that. And I think you wanted something from a previous cult comedy crew. And I'm just scrolling down until I find it.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
Yes. Movie, yes.
So thank you, Tim. Thanks, buddy, for all your support on this and Bourbon and on Bourbon and Boarding. Our great hockey show on Saturday nights for those of you who want to stay up late, just prior to Hope doing his Rumble Midnight Mass.
Hell yeah. Although this week it may not happen because I'm moving this week, so I may not have everything set up by Saturday.
You moved again, man? Wow.
You certainly moved me over the years. That's all I can say.
I do what I can.
Eric K, our great friend Eric K, the man who likes to put his meat in your mouth. If you ever meet him in person. $4.99 from Eric K. I came for Vanessa Angel. You're not the only one. I came for Vanessa Angel. I'm here for Vanessa Angel. You know what I mean? Donna Dixon is nice in the eyes too. Mrs. Dan Aykroyd, bosom buddies. I think the bit that they missed in this movie was putting those two in bed together instead of Dan Aykroyd and Donna Dixon, and that's or Chevy Chase, whoever ended up with who. That was the bit that they made wrong. But thank you very much for that, Eric. Speaking of Vanessa Angel.
Let me see that.
Excuse me, real quick. I gotta go.
Sorry, don't leave for good. I do like the little Bondish style. I gotta go. What's that noise? I do like that the Bond-like music that Elmer Bernstein fitted in there. A very Bondish little piece of music. But
to quote the legendary Adam Baldwin, "I'll be in my bunk."
I'll be in my bunk. That's right. Indeed, was that in Firefly?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, so welcome everybody in the chat. Welcome over on YouTube. We're on YouTube today. We're over on Rumble, where Vince and Low Spec Linux Gaming and Joe are hanging out and doing stuff. Whatever they're doing, I don't know. I just don't know if I want to know.
You may not want to know.
Still can't get those chats into can't get those chats into Talk Studio here, so I can show them on screen. But I'm working on it. I'm going to work on some kind of code boondoggle that'll help us.
I'll copy and paste it into YouTube for you. This is what
you can be the man. But yeah, so happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. Diddly 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 potatoes is my message. I was looking for my shillelagh, but I couldn't find it. So for all you Irish descended people,
I got a shirt on mine. Boston shoot-around shirt. What's up?
I hope you all have a great day. It means nothing to me, as I'm obviously Scottish and I don't participate in such things, even though I did work for Guinness for 12 years. And
listen, Scotsman.
I did work for
I'll give you your James McAvoy, and I'll raise you Michael Fassbender. Okay, all right.
All right, but we should obviously remember a day like today, you can get a product like this. This is what you need. Harry O'Connell's instant Irish accent mouth spray. And it does say at the bottom, sheep not included.
Still trying to figure out why we gave a bunch of sword warmers a holiday.
Hey.
No. Is it really a holiday, though? I mean, it's not an official holiday, is it?
Hey, it's not like a real holiday unless you live in Massachusetts. Happy Evacuation Day.
Exactly. I often thought that the St. Patrick's Day shouldn't be a holiday. It should be the day after St. Patrick's Day.
Well, yeah, because, the real shenanigans happen, on St. Patrick's Day, and then you have to recover.
You got to recover from that shit. Yeah, you got to recover from that shit.
Green beer, man. Yeah.
But for those of you who don't get the reference, in 1776, Evacuation Day was the day the British abandoned Boston during the Revolution.
Right.
And several things were evacuated that day, I'm sure. putting
quite
some barrels.
a few, including probably every alcohol store in the in the city.
Indeed. So we're here today. We are gathered here today to talk about. I guess it's an interesting movie. I want you guys to give your thoughts, but not necessarily the funniest movie of these guys or the 80s. But it's very. I think it's grown on me a lot more over the years, and it kind of like the spy element and the Bob Hope Bing Crosby Road movie element is in there quite a bit. Has it aged well for you guys? This movie?
Yeah, it's. I watched it this morning because I hadn't seen it in so long, just to catch up, and. Yeah, it came out in the time. Now you got to remember what was being made back then. John Landis had his hands in everything back then. As a matter of fact, you see some of the actors from some of his other movies in this. I remember specifically the guy from National Lampoon's Animal House is in it. The guy that was
Franco's
leader of the other.
Oh no, that guy. Sorry, yeah. Well, we'll come with that. Jerry
he's one of the Russians they run into. But, but it's typical of the time. I mean, they made this one. They made Three Amigos about the same time. I mean, there was a lot of movies.
It was the next one after, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like the German poster. I mean, Pope, what about you? I mean, you obviously didn't see this until much later, I guess, because you were just a.
I wouldn't be born for 2 years when this movie came out.
That's right.
But even when I saw it as a kid, I think I didn't get a lot of it because I was too young. And I hadn't learned about a lot of this stuff yet because I barely remember the Cold War.
Yeah, I was in the military when this movie came out.
Yeah, so I remember.
So was I.
I'm laughing at the Ronald Reagan pictures all over the walls, and it is a Star Wars movie, guys. It's about the Star Wars stuff. So, it was much funnier back then than people would have to be told the context today.
Well, yeah, I mean, I learned it in school and later, and it is really good now that I come back and watch it.
Yeah.
I don't think I got it at the time because my only two real memories of the Cold War were, the wall coming down in '89 and my parents being really excited on Christmas 1991 when the Soviet Union actually fell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how little we knew now. But yeah,
and, the only reason I remember that is I was 5 at that point. So
yeah, so I mean, it's kind of dated now in that sense, but it was also dated even more dated for people that watch it now because of all the references to the Bob Hope Bing Crosby Road movies.
Oh yeah,
which are from a complete generation before.
Yeah, that nobody my age or younger would have even heard of. Really.
No, I mean, even although I grew up watching them on TV, would barely have got a lot of those references. But I mean, it's interesting mix because it had, it's comedy, but it's Cold War satire. It's got espionage thriller stuff, which spoofs a lot of stuff that's going on at the time in other movies. It's got Bond influences.
Yep.
It's got.
And you can compare it to, a movie we covered recently, Top Secret, coming from the same year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think Top Secret holds up better than this does because it's less reliant on, references from that period.
Right.
And more just actual comedy.
Well, it's more absurd, Top Secret. I mean, it's got them as if they're
more slapsticky.
Yeah. It's almost like got the Soviets as if they're Nazis or whatever. Can we use that word in that context? But it's more absurd, and this is more kind of broader and
rounded and kind of like a serious tongue-in-cheek take on a spy movie, which I appreciate both of them. But I think Top Secret is easier for somebody who doesn't know much about this era or this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can still laugh at the jokes and you'll obviously get some of it. Whereas this, a lot of it's pretty subtle if you're not
Top Secret's more Python-esque in many ways than although
it is.
It's in this movie. There's Python reference here. But, with Terry Gilliam. But so Imp, I mean, have you what are your feelings about the longevity of this movie?
I would say it still holds up, but like both Pope and Joe were saying, some of the references of the time, if you weren't around for them, you're not gonna really pick up on.
Sure, which is why it probably is why it's one of the least referenced movies from that era.
Yeah, I would say so. I still think it holds up, though. I think it's kind of a dichotomy between the two characters.
Yeah.
You have Dan Aykroyd doing more of the quote-unquote smart humor, And
Chevy's the dumb
Chevy
guy.
Chase going slapstick with things.
It's funny because I think the parts that have grown on me more over the years of it are the actual spy parts, because there's some really good effects and sets and locations in it, and it almost has that Bond element. It's very 80s.
Yeah, the
Bond.
production value of this flick is through the roof.
Very 80s
really,
Bond.
really good. Yep.
Yeah, well, they did spend $22 million of that money in that time on it. So that wasn't
that's
fair,
a lot.
yeah.
That's a lot for that time. Yeah.
Yeah, released in December 6, 1985. Opening weekend was 8.6 million. Total domestic gross 60 million and worldwide 77.3. So it was a hit, albeit not a sizable hit. But yeah, it's just, and also though, of course, we have to look at the scores. Rotten Tomato score, critics 32%. Metacritic score 22 out of 100. IMDb rating slightly kinder, 6.4 out of 10. I think the 6.4 out of 10 is probably closer to the reality. But as Eric K says, for $1.99, what about a 1 hour deep dive into Vanessa Angel? I think I could manage 30 seconds. Is that good enough?
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, I'll do my best. Give her 60 minutes, 3.5 at a time.
Yes, exactly. So thank you, Eric. Obviously, as is tradition in this show, you must get some kind of video clip. Talking of top secret. Never gets old.
Off the chain, man.
Finest sight gag ever, or one of them. So yeah, well, back to the movie, and it's the genesis of the. I do love it. The Japanese posters are always the best, I think.
Yeah,
they've got everything. They've got multiple missiles firing.
Just say the girls are there, no doubt.
Yeah. So this all comes about because of Dan Aykroyd. So originally developed by him, and co-wrote the story with Lowell Gantz and Babaloo Mandel. And Aykroyd did see it as, at the time, as a modern take on the classic Road movies, Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, but with a spy theme. And he had originally written it, envisaged it as him and Belushi. And I actually think you can tell in certain jokes in it might have worked better if they'd been Belushi as one of the characters. Like some of the dick jokes or whatever may have worked better. But obviously, of course, that the kibosh was put in that with John Belushi's death. But Aykroyd at the time, this is what, 85, 86, was riding high. I mean, we're not going to talk about the SNL era that him and Chevy Chase were in, but that's a whole different thing. But just from a movie perspective, you know, he had these bangers that were all super.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
super hits.
Yeah, and he was big part of every one of them.
Each one that he's got different other people leading in it with him, of course. So he was like a total peak of success. But Lowell Gantz and Babaloo Mandel also co-wrote the story, but they were long-time TV writing guys and partners throughout their careers as writers, responsible for a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, in my era, who didn't watch Happy Days?
Oh man, and Night Shift is one of the most underrated movies you will ever see. It's the first, I think it was the first feature film with Michael Keaton in it, and oh my god,
yeah, and Winkler, of course. So, whatever happened to the older brother in Happy Days? Nobody knows to this day. He just went upstairs and never came back.
Right.
That's how you write a character out. But yeah, Night Shift is a banger of a movie, a great movie. And then they went on to write Splash, and then later on they had a ton of big hits as writers. But they based it. That original story was very much based on the Road movies, and I don't know if anybody else here has seen them. I mean, Joe probably has seen some.
I've seen some of them. Yeah. The Road to Morocco, I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, these were hugely popular. I mean, I loved them as a kid. They were always on TV in the 60s, and they were still making them up until the 60s.
Yep.
With Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and Dorothy Lamour. A lot of fun, very broad comedy, a lot of fun. But multiple movies since, like Romancing the Stone and others, have kind of borrowed stuff from them, the format.
Right.
So they saw it very much as something like that. But Dan Aykroyd then, wanted to make sure it had this kind of modern spy thing.
Although those movies could also be a cult comedy crew episode on their own.
Oh, they
Romancing
could.
the Stone is a freaking classic.
There's some good stuff in those movies, but they had to do their humor a bit more sly then.
Yeah.
The references had to be a little bit more to keep with the code. They had to be a little bit more. But obviously, Bob Hope makes an appearance in this movie. But so moving on a little bit, obviously, Belushi was out of the picture. Aykroyd still wanted to make the movie, so he teamed up with Dave Thomas, who we've covered on this show before, of course, with SCTV and Strange Brew. He was the co-writer of the final product, obviously much beloved. Funnily enough, Dan Aykroyd wasn't in SCTV, but there you go, you can't have everything. And of course, the great Strange Brew. So he came on board to write it, and they kind of then balanced it out as a broad comedy with a kind of Cold War satire and spoofing Bond-type espionage thrillers of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So as well as we're talking peak Cold War, 80s Cold War, you know, we're all going to die, we're all doomed.
Ronald Reagan era. Yep. Big time.
So Thomas came on board as a writer, and then the director came on board, and it was John Landis. Now, he'd worked with...
Just say John Landis and you're saying comedy.
Indeed. John Landis was a juggernaut at the time, although he was going through his legal difficulties because of the Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone movie pretty much ended his career, but before that, he had everything going on.
If you want my opinion, Soul Assassin, I believe SCTV was consistently better than SNL, other than certain periods of SNL that had some good stuff.
Which was better because I've seen very little SCTV. But back then in the 70s and 80s, I saw all of the Saturday Night Lives.
Yeah. I mean,
of course, I'm going to lean that way.
The original crew of SNL and then the late 80s, early 90s crew were probably better than SCTV, but everything else has just been a disappointment.
For sure. But anyway, Thomas was on board, and then they got John Landis in, obviously worked on the Blues Brothers. I mean, Landis's gift, I think, at the time was he could blend comedy with other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and that is a very tightrope to walk, because you can't go serious with it, or it just becomes weird. And you can't go.
The best example of that is an American Werewolf in London. 1 minute you're laughing your ass off, and the next minute you're scared shitless in that movie. It's really good.
Yeah,
and thinking about it, another example of that real tightrope that works perfectly is, a show I brought up earlier, Firefly. Because it's hilarious at points and dead serious when it wants to be.
Yeah, beautiful balance. Yeah, it's balance. And he was great. And each one of these is different subject matter. He wasn't like he was doing horror. He was doing a sort of music stuff. He was doing a college humor. And then, of course, thriller, which was just knockout. For a 15-minute thing.
That has to be an artifact of the 80s, is that you would see an A-list director like John Landis doing a music video.
Oh,
and he's got his little Easter eggs in there, like a thriller. What does it say? See you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday, which is in this movie. We've got the still. But I mean, I waited up till midnight to watch Thriller. It was released on
Thriller,
I waited up to watch.
That was a big deal.
But yeah, he could incorporate slapstick humor and gags and witty dialogue, traditional spy thriller stuff. He blended it all in and made it a kind of an action spy movie in amongst the comedy. It wasn't a pure comedy movie. So
no.
But he was still riding high.
There he is.
His difficulties. And then he worked with a guy called George Folsey Jr. for a long time, collaborator on most John Landis stuff, and as well as a few other things. Somebody's given me shit here for sounding Scottish. It's true. It's true. I could do Irish. Dilly potatoes. How's that?
Hey.
Anyway, I'm probably getting trolled, but never mind. I deserve it. He died in December 2024, George Folsey Jr. He's just recently died. Yeah, just recently died. A lot of people in this movie are still around that are connected to it. Not some of the ones we do, just about everyone's gone. But so, hey, Dave C. Hail, Dave C. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you, buddy. Talking to you soon, I'm sure. So Folsey Jr. was on, so it became a John Landis project, really. Brian Grazer was also involved, who became, I mean, in the last 50 years, he's been one of the most successful Hollywood producers. Don't want to talk about the stuff since, but up to that point, he'd produced Night Shift and then Splash and then Real Genius, of course.
My God. Wow.
So he was still
My
early
favorite
on.
Val Kilmer movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So he was still relatively new in his producing juggernaut career, but Grazer went on to be like, whatever, I've lost track of the number of movies he's produced. So, but a powerful team behind it. The studio saw this as a big deal, and the two guys that were cast. I mean, I don't know how the decision for Chevy Chase to come on board was done, because other than SNL, they hadn't really done anything together, and it didn't necessarily seem like a natural matchup. But hey, they were both stars, as it were. Aykroyd, we talked about his movies, and he's playing the nerdy one, I guess, Austin Milbarge. Brilliant but socially awkward.
He's always the brilliant guy, isn't he?
So
he's like the straight man to the couple.
basically.
That's what he is, so, yeah.
Sorry, Pope.
It's like so autistic, basically.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he's also, yeah. So I love the fact that he's stuck in the basement in the Pentagon, and the guy above him hates him because he's so good at everything. He's trying to keep him down.
Yeah.
He kind of works hard and he's intelligent, but he does want to be a field agent. I mean, as you watch the movie, you're thinking, how is he going to end up with this other idiot? You know. And I'm guessing that would have been the John Belushi role.
Probably would have, yeah.
If they'd kept it, maybe they switched them because he wasn't around. I don't know, but
because Aykroyd and Belushi worked together on a ton of stuff. And
they were best friends. I mean,
yeah, they were just. It was kind of like David Spade and Chris Farley, where like they did everything together.
Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Chevy Chase, however it happened, ended up as the co-star in this. I guess they saw that as box office bonanza time. He was riding pretty high too, given that he was, he'd been in all of these movies up to that point. All of them had been big hits. And he's playing the sort of Emmett Fitzhume, in a very prescient role, a lazy government employee.
He's the jock, man. He's the jock. That's what he is.
Lazy government employee at the Pentagon. No way. Yeah. Smooth talking slacker with little ambition other than avoiding real work. Where have we heard this recently?
So wait a minute.
Literally everyone in Washington.
So he's playing Chevy Chase. Is that what he's doing?
He's playing Chevy Chase. I still think that I never think of Caddyshack as a Chevy Chase movie.
No, that was an ensemble movie. I think of that. If it's anybody, who I think of every time I see that movie, and it should be Rodney Dangerfield, but I think of Ted Knight every time I see that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you say, it's an ensemble movie because every one of the four is fighting for the top spot. I mean, Chevy Chase is no joke. Rodney Dangerfield's great. Ted Knight's brilliant, and then you have Bill Murray just being Bill Murray.
Yeah. I think I always think of it as Bill. I always think of Chevy Chase last, and it's like you could have put anybody else in there, and it would still work. Yeah.
Every time somebody mentions Caddyshack, I go, "Well, we're waiting."
But he's still a popular
guy. It's funny because I go with Bill Murray's little quote there, just like with like the Cinderella story.
But he's still he was still a popular guy. I mean, European Vacation is the least talked about one of the vacations. I still like it a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's the least funny of the three, and it's still great.
Yeah, exactly.
The original is lights out classic, one of the funniest movies ever made, and Christmas Vacation.
And it has those boobs, and it has what's her name of the boobs? That's his wife in it. What's the name of the actress?
Oh, Beverly D'Angelo. Yep.
She's topless in it. What more can you ask?
I love the fact that Christy Brinkley got married to Billy Joel, but yet their daughter got her dad's looks and her mother's singing.
I know, how cursed is that? But anyway, Chase was cast.
Lost that nice role.
His character's kind of the charming one, and they hadn't worked together on movies in leading roles. And in fact, I think the only other movie they ever worked on in leading roles was this one, which I've seen once, and I can't even remember this movie.
Oh my God, that movie's so bizarre. It is so.
I don't remember it.
Nothing but trouble. Yeah. I don't even know you'd call them leading roles, because Dan Aykroyd's role as that judge is just It's more John Candy's movie than it is his.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The shooter was full. But so they didn't really have a history of working together, but then Chevy Chase doesn't really have a history of working together with
anybody. Yeah. He's notorious. We all know the stories.
Yeah, and they were pushing him as a leading man at this time. That's why he ended up in this movie.
Time. I was going to say that earlier when you were talking about the two of them. Between Dan Aykroyd and him, his face was more of a leading man kind of thing. I mean, he had Foul Play with him and Goldie Hawn, and the other one they did.
Yeah, really pushing him as a romantic leading man to a certain extent. So, but anyway, also in the movie was Mrs. Dan Aykroyd, Donna Dixon. Playing Karen Boyer, who's a spy like us, or not, but she's the one with the smarts. She's got the smarts apparently, and she's like the real spy as opposed to the decoys that they are. But she's former beauty queen Donna Dixon.
Gee whiz!
And
I can believe it.
First met Dan Aykroyd in this movie, which again I've only ever seen once in the 80s on VHS, and I cannot remember anything about it.
Can't remember anything about that one either, but I remember him being in Dr. Detroit.
Not a thing about it.
Yeah.
So anyone that knows about that movie or likes it, maybe we need to get it on the list to do. Because, but anyway, she was also Garth's dream girl in Wayne's World, of course.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yes. He did get the dream girl at the end.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. They only just split up a couple of years ago. Him and Aykroyd and her. So.
Really?
Yeah, they were married for a long time. Then she found out he was Canadian, so that was the end of that.
I guess not everybody can be Christopher Guest and Jamie Lee Curtis, huh? I guess.
Yeah. D-Bud Martin's got Dr. Detroit on DVD.
Wow, okay.
Did anybody check out Linux's Saturday music hour? He's asking over on Rumble.
No, unfortunately.
No, I will watch the replay, buddy. I knew you were talking about doing it, but
please check out Low Spec Linux Gaming's music hour. Then I'm going to go look for it after this. Put a link. Drop a link in Rumble, Low Spec, and on YouTube, and show everybody the link if you can.
I remember him talking about it during a gaming stream, but I wasn't sure if he was doing it already. So
let's get the link. So Donna Dixon, also starring was Steve Forrest. You can't see him for the trees. That's the problem.
No, you can't.
No. Who plays General Slime, which is a great name.
Oh man, God.
As opposed to Slime. He's the CA no nonsense military guy overseeing this dubious operation to build this super secret Star Wars type whatever.
He's basically playing the same character he played on SWAT for years.
Which I think at this point, given the things we're playing with now, the biggest lie we ever told to the world was the fact that Star Wars was unsuccessful.
Yeah, right.
So Low Spec saying that his show's only in Rumble, rightly as a music show, it's only in Rumble, but it's being posted in Rumble now, and you'll see it on the screen coming up here, I suspect. So yeah, Low Spec, check out Low Spec Linux Gaming's music streams. But anyway, yeah, he's the sort of he's one of the villains of the piece. He doesn't care about the loss of life. He's got to yes, he's got to do his thing. But here he is he was a World War II veteran from the Battle of the Bulge. In the day that
my grandfather, cool.
Yeah, in the day that actors were not pussies.
No.
So and this is him in The Longest Day with John Wayne. He did hundreds of movies, and then as somebody mentioned, was U-Pope SWAT.
Yeah,
became the big hit in SWAT in the mid '70s. I've actually never seen it because they didn't show it in the UK to the best of my knowledge.
You've heard that song? That was a number one hit in the States.
Heard the song, yeah. But that's not his finest hour. His finest hour was Amazon Women on the Moon.
Of course.
Which is a lot of people's finest hours.
Yeah. Including Arsenio Hall.
Yeah, Ed Beagley Jr., Russ Meyer. And Russ Meyer must have provided the cast. Steve Guttenberg.
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, Sybil Danning.
Ed Begley Jr.
B.B. King, who's also in this movie, of course.
Yep.
Really?
Wow. Billy Preston.
Steve Martin, the guy Chevy Chase always wished he was.
That's right, yes. And this is, of course, one of the finest pieces of cinema art ever made.
Of course.
Yes. So,
Powerpuff Girls unite. Yes.
indeed. Yeah. Russ Meyer provided the cast, I'm sure. A bit of trivia from 11 Alpha that is Ray Parker Jr. of Ghostbusters fame played guitar in the theme from SWAT. Nice piece of trivia, my friend. Nice. Did not know that. There you go. So, so that's Steve Forrest. Also, as one of the generals in this was Tom Hatton. He's General Meigs. Tom Hatton. I wasn't so familiar with this actor, but apparently he did a long-running show on the Popeye show.
Really?
And then became the Pier 5 Club. So I have never seen it or heard of it. And he did a lot of other. He's also a World War II vet in the Navy. Some people who I think this was a San Francisco-based thing, so maybe Californians grew up watching it. But the Popeye show it was called. So he is also another one of those military guys that's up to no good in this. Bruce Davison is the CIA guy, the shady CIA guy, aren't they?
He's great in everything he does.
Ruby, yeah. He's suggesting we assign this job to some patsies or whatever. And the secret bunker and everything. I love the bit at the beginning where they lock the guy in the cupboard because they can't take the sick guy's off his arm. But he's part of the rogue faction. I think he's horrified at the end that they don't want to call the president, but he's still part of the thing. Right. Veteran stage.
That had actually happened a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. Indeed.
And like we brushed that under the rug pretty heavily, but it's all come out later.
Well, look at the movie War Games. That was based on that premise at the beginning.
On Able Archer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which,
the opening of this.
Tell people just how close we came to almost ending the world in 1983.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe that would have been a good thing. Who knows?
The opening of this reminded me of Real Genius. You know.
Well, indeed. And
yeah, a little bit.
We have links to that movie in the production side of this. So yeah. So veteran stage screen.
In this movie's defense, if War Games had ended the world in '83, we would never have seen Vanessa Angel in this film. And
That's true. Think of all the hotness that would have been wasted.
Oh my God, exactly.
It would have been radioactively hot.
Humankind.
So Davidson's still pretty busy today. Ozark, 1923, and a lot of other TV shows. I don't think I'd really noticed them until X-Men.
Really? When he played the senator? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, but the film that first got him any attention was back in 1971 in a movie called Willard.
Willard,
which was about rats, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the star of this, and it became quite a hit. And then they made a sequel. Here's where the real trivia kicks in. The sequel was called Ben, and it was about the rat called Ben. Of course, Michael Jackson had a huge hit single with the song Ben, which nobody knew was about a rat.
A lot of people didn't know what that song was about. Yes.
So the first,
possibly Ben. Yeah, that's right.
Possibly the first #1 hit single around the world that was about a rat, a feral rat as well.
Yes.
So there's some real trivia for you. Also, we have William Prince as Keyes, who's another CIA senior official. Not really any comedic part in this. He's more like the straight guy. Mm-hmm. Another veteran TV and movie actor who I've seen him in a lot of stuff, but the one I remember is in The Gauntlet, Clint Eastwood movie, The Gauntlet.
Yes, he's
Here
the guy
he is trying to he is trying to shoot Clint. That didn't work out so well.
Well, I mean, anytime you try to shoot at Clint Eastwood, it never ends well for you.
It never ends well. No.
Yeah. D. Bud Martin knew it was about a rat, but that's because D. Bud Martin knows everything. Why he should be on this show.
Well, it's like being in a relationship with
any woman.
Well, no, trying to remember. It's like being in a relationship with Charlie Bronson in a Death Wish movie,
all right,
or being a side character in a Warhammer story.
Yeah.
You know you're not making it.
But never point a gun at Clint Eastwood is the message that William Prince learned in The Gauntlet.
Yeah. Just ask William Holden. He made that mistake in Magnum Force.
That's right. Yeah. They all make that mistake. Bernie Casey played
the
brilliantly named Colonel Rhombus.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite joke when people say, "What kind of shape do you? What kind of shape do you like in a woman?" I say, "Rhomboid." Colonel Rhombus, which is just a great name. He's the no-nonsense CIA training guy.
That's an interesting configuration for the M16. Because it's got the A2 bird cage on it, on the barrel.
A train spotter alert.
But it's an A1 hand grip.
Yeah, as Living Alpha says, the placement of the insignia on that uniform is making me cry.
Yeah, that one's pretty wrong too.
Yeah.
Anyway, this Casey, we've seen him around a lot. Athlete, NFL player, quite a famous one, I believe. I'm not into the NFL, and an actor. Did a lot of interesting stuff over the years, like The Martian Chronicles, Revenge of the Nerds, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He was the teacher supervising the.
I'm waiting for you to name my favorite one here.
Well, we're nearly another 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But he also got to romance Tamara Dobson and Cleopatra Jones, and played Felix Leiter in Never Say Never Again.
Yes, he did.
But he's got a Bond connection. Joe, please name your favorite Bernie Casey.
I'm a big Burt Reynolds fan and Sharky's Machine. He was the guy that was like, this guy ain't real, you know? Yeah.
Sharky's Machine. I forgot about that. Yes, Sharky's.
I'm just going to make myself disappear. Remember, he was the real spiritual guy on the team. Yeah.
So he's done a lot of good shit in his time, Bernie Casey. But yeah, he got to be in a Bond, albeit side Bond.
And unfortunately for him, he's one of those actors that's in a ton of stuff everyone loves, but his name never sticks out to people.
Yeah. Anyway, we come to the main event. Vanessa Angel.
Yes.
The Russian rocket crew.
Operative. Yes.
I mean,
not operative. She's a grunt troop, really. She's just guarding a missile.
She's just a grunt. I mean, if this is how hot the grunts are, imagine how much hotter they get.
If you need a minute, it's going to be okay.
This is no Elsa Clench. Let's put it that way.
I think
that's Bernie Casey's
record. I'm trying to remember because I was big into Playboy back then. I think she did a spread when this movie came out too.
Yeah,
I mean, not a centerfold spread, but I think she did a photo.
Ready to be debriefed. So thank you for posting Bernie Casey's record there. He was a pretty. I wasn't into NFL at all, so I wouldn't even have heard of it in Britain. But that's a pretty good record, I believe.
And there was a string of that right about this time of NFL players that ended up being in movies when their careers kind of winded down.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chase Simpson.
Well, I mean, there's a reason his career winded down. And, you know, the reason for it is actually his last appearance on camera.
You mean this?
Thornburg, that's wonderful.
Whoa! Oh, Frank, everyone should have a friend like you.
Yes, that exactly. Nothing to do with a white Bronco. You should never look that up.
That's right. So, never heard of it. But yeah, Vanessa. So we're not going to show all the Russians in this. This is the only one that matters. But Vanessa Angel, she was in the TV series Weird Science, and she was also in Baywatch, where she looked pretty good. And this is the movie Kingpin, of course.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh yes.
Isn't that Woody Harrelson? And
Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Is it Bill Murray? It's Bill Murray.
No. It's Harrelson and Randy Quaid, I think.
Randy Quaid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bill Murray was in Kingpin. I can't remember.
So I may not remember her in a lot of stuff. I remember Baywatch though.
Why do I think Bill Murray was in Kingpin?
Hang on, I'm freaking to look it up. You could be absolutely right.
I thought he was the
We're both on the other side of 60. So
I thought he was the shithead in it. I'm getting confused. Kingpin, yes, but anyway, I'll leave you to look that up. But so she was in that, and this was her first movie, and she made a bit of an impression. Also in this, in a small role, is Animal House's Greg Marmalade, James Doughton, who's on the left here.
Yeah,
Greg Marmalade. You could imagine him ending up. I can't remember what happened to him in the end credits of Animal House because it said that they all ended up in something. You could imagine this was what he became.
He ended up a senator raped in prison. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie 100 times. Yeah.
Bill Murray was in Kingpin. He was the baddie.
in Kingpin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe so.
He was the baddie, yeah.
Two leads, the guys on the poster, are Woody Harrelson and Randy Quaid.
So James Dutton. There's tons of cameos in this, though, because they're all hanging around John Landis.
Oh my God, Bob Hope.
So Bob Hope was in it. He's in a scene, and then at the end, a picture of him. Frank Oz, you mentioned, who's in a lot of John Landis stuff.
He was in a lot of John Landis stuff.
I love the look he's always got in his face.
Mm-hmm.
He's incorruptible in this as the testimony.
You might remember him in Blues Brothers as the guy that's giving them their stuff. One used condom.
He's got it on the pencil. Terry Gilliam was Dr. Imhouse in the famous doctor scene.
Yes, Monty Python.
Doctor?
Doctor. In fact, hang on a second. I've got to do this. Oh, I'm going to get my mouse to behave. Here we go.
Doctor. Doctor. Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor. Doctor. Doctor.
Doctor.
So he's in it. Also in.
It's weird that that's one of the only references I still hear regularly to this movie. Is that bit right there?
Yeah. Because it's absurd. I mean, that's the one of the few absurdist parts. But there's Ray Harryhausen,
yes,
who we discussed recently. I shouldn't really mention his name. I'll get my channel struck again immediately. Let's not go into that. Ray Harryhausen is one of the doctors, but also a slew of other directors. So this scene alone and cameos. So you've got B.B. King here, but also you've got directors Michael Apted, Larry Cohen, and Martin Brest. Who are all Ace Tomato agents. And then you've got, you've got Joel Cohen, Sam Raimi, and Martin Brest are also Ace Tomato guys. But you've got Costa Garvas, who's another director, is one of the Russian Highway Patrol guys. There are probably more cameos. That's the only ones that...
And I love it when things like this happen when big names in Hollywood are just basically extras in the movie they're just like guard number 3.
I love the whole driving bit because even the two guys that are driving up to it's Bruce Davison and the other guy, they're like, "What the fuck is this place?" Well, CIA love this shit, So the director of photography is also in a cameo in the movie. And he's one of the doctors. Robert Painter is a cameo in it, and he's the DP. He worked a lot with Landis, but he also worked a lot with Michael Winner. And he did things like Little Shop of Horrors and Superman 2 and 3. So he worked with someone like Chato's Land and all these 70s Michael Winner movies that had Charles Bronson in them. So don't think he did any of the canon films, though. Music was by Elmer Bernstein. Or is it Bernstein?
I've always pronounced it Bernstein. So.
Yeah, so he's an obviously major league. So the music's it's got a grandiose kind of the music is serious, except there's some cameo pieces in it from Bond, Lawrence of Arabia. He even kind of does his own Great Escape theme in it in a little bit. He wrote the theme for the Great Escape. He did Airplane, so he did some comedy, but he does it as an absolute score for a spy movie. So he does it beautifully. So it's a heavyweight team behind this film, but of course, as well as the soundtrack by Elmer Bernstein, you have the 12-inch single. That's my 12-inch single for Spies Like Us.
Nice.
From scenes from the music video in the back, but peak 80s Paul McCartney, synthesized drums and all this other echoey shit. Sounds like the Art of Noise on it. They're not involved. So he did the theme song, and it was actually kind of one of his last hit singles. Really, he's kind of stopped having hit singles after that. But so always remember the theme music though. It's quite catchy. But yeah, so there's the poster for See You Next Wednesday in the background, which for those who don't know is in every John Landis movie. A reference to See You Next Wednesday, a fictitious film.
Yes.
And that's where it appears in this movie. So yeah, that's the kind of the team behind it.
Well, I find it funny that what they're depicting there, even though this is all Army, that's a Marine uniform.
Well, it's a real mishmash because they're meant to be a CIA training, but they're Army and Marines and all sorts of other shit mixed up in it. It's like I think that's deliberate. They didn't want to make it just one branch. They've just kind of mixed and matched to
either that or the typical Hollywood incompetence when it comes to portraying the military, where they don't actually understand how any of it works. And
I don't know how
you guys work together all the time.
I know it drives me nuts every time I see a military uniform with no name tags on it. That drives me up the wall.
You will see it, Joe. Oh, not in your era, but in my era, we saw it, and we knew better than to talk to those guys because they were Delta.
I don't remember ever seeing, but then again, I have never run with Tier 1 operators. I wouldn't even know. You know what I mean?
Pulled security for them a couple of times. We knew better than to ask what was going on. We were told to, cordon off a building, and we fucking did, and we didn't ask any questions about it.
Yeah, but that's always chapped my butt, especially when it's, guys walking around the White House, or something in a movie and they don't have a name tag on. I'm like, oh, come on.
So we're getting peak 80s here. You've got massive nuclear missiles trundling through the Russian, Serbian, whatever.
I mean, it's not that big.
You got satellites. It's not that big, yeah. I have missile envy. And this is like cutting edge technology at the time.
Yeah.
But I love
back
the CIA.
then it was.
Yeah, I love the CIA cover Ace Tomato.
Yeah, Ace Tomato.
So it's played for the most part. A lot of it is played as an actual spy thriller.
Yeah.
And that's part of the humor is it's just serious enough to be ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's only when it starts to get to when the guy arrives in the office.
Oh my God, that is a great scene. It absolutely is.
So he arrives at this nondescript Washington, whatever, and he gets thrown in. I love this. He's like, well, just give us the stuff and leave. Well, I can't because it's locked inside the case.
Yeah.
And then it's locked inside something inside the case, and they can't take the case off. And
leave them material, take the case.
It's like, okay, we'll get in the cupboard.
Yeah.
It's the first time in Hollywood anyone's gone back into the closet.
Right? He went into the closet. Not coming out. He's going into it. Look at it. Look at the look on his face. Like, what?
And then you've got
like a wire out of the
That's a wire coming out. Migs and Slime will drool.
Yeah.
But these guys are up to no good straight away. The intelligence services and the military industrial complex.
Right.
I don't know. I just look at Steve Forrest there and I think, is that a wig? Is that a hair piece?
Could be. It could be he just colored his hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. That guy looks more military than Forrest does.
Yeah. The last two were the best men we had. They keep running out of best men.
Right.
So they come up with the idea that because they've got this secret program, missile striking program. It's a wig. Yeah. They need 2 real agents and 2 dummies. Where are we going to get the dummies? Well,
I'm sure you can find somebody.
You might find wasting a couple of dummies.
I mean, they're banking on these guys getting killed, right?
Yeah. They're not meant to survive yet.
Right.
And then you got. I love the fact that Chevy Chase's character is working in the Paraguayan.
And he's watching a Ronald Reagan movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's in the Paraguayan department. Like, what the they do? And he's like this. This is how we imagine Washington bureaucracy.
Yeah,
and the funny part is
just cutting out right now.
The funny part is it's probably less ridiculous than at the actual Washington bureaucracy because I guarantee you they have a guy who does that guy's job.
That's
spying
right.
on Paraguay.
But
why?
At least they're
we know what those sneaky Paraguayans are up to.
At least they're in the office, though. I'll give them that.
Well, yeah. Well, they didn't have the ability to telecommute yet.
No.
Yeah. But he's quite right about the multi-choice test. It's C or the longest answer, or if more than one seems right, it's all of the above.
All of the above. Right?
I guess I'm gonna. She's quite. I don't know who this actress is, but she's fairly. She was fairly attractive, but yeah, he's trying everything he can to get past this exam without doing any actual work.
Where does he live? I've been to DC multiple times. Where does he live that's in sight of the Capitol Dome?
Right.
That's a residential building.
Well,
On
this
his
is it.
salary? Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
not on any salary. I mean, all those are museums.
I mean, he has got a double-barreled name, so he might come from money, but he certainly didn't end up with a top job. But then, so you go down to see Danny Aykroyd's character. He's stuck in the basement, literally.
Yeah, but he's doing the job of 50 men.
Yeah.
That's why this guy won't ever let him out.
He's got this the decoder from Serial Box Ring. It worked.
It worked.
Every time the guy asks him a question, he's like,
got the
I've done that. I've done that. And then he makes the great comment at the end about, I was going to hook you up for a free Disney channel.
Yeah, Disney Channel, but not so much now, right?
That's not, now that wouldn't be seen as a positive.
No.
Well, yeah, that would be a threat.
Yeah. But yeah,
Different time. Disney was a good company back then.
So you'll improve your performance or I'll subscribe you to Disney Plus.
But he really needs to keep this guy down here, so he doesn't tell him about the exam.
Yeah. Hook you up at the Disney Channel for free.
The one thing in this press conference at Paraguay, they start asking him questions, he does the old...
yeah, the busted microphone thing. Yep.
He's fairly slick. He just doesn't know anything, but he is quite slick. The International Wheat Board. Like, anybody... There must be 1 million conferences like this in Washington. Like, nobody cares.
Here's Frank Oz being Frank Oz.
Mm.
The annoying boss guy. Yeah.
The one bit that I did find fairly interesting in this was that I expected Aykroyd and Chase's characters to be a bit more antagonistic to each other, but they kind of immediately team up.
Yeah.
To the point Aykroyd's character actually helps him cheat, which is weird. Why would you do that? You know?
You're competing against him for
why would you do that?
Yeah.
I guess he just teases him as an outside, but I love it, all the cheating things he can do.
Oh my God, Chevy Chase.
And then he farts and the other guy has to take the blame for it. Like, why would you do that? Why would you take the blame?
Staring at his eye patch. Oh God.
But he'd written the answers down based on the previous version of the questions he'd seen because they'd changed them.
Look at this.
So this is there's some funny stuff in here. I mean, it's never never a laugh out loud movie. It's just kind of amusing, but
yeah, friggin' Oz is watching them the entire time.
Yeah,
just like, are you serious?
Yeah, he's not just glancing at it, he's just staring at this like, do these idiots think they're getting away with this? They've
got Henry Kissinger on the wall behind them. I think it's Henry Kissinger. And so we found our guys.
Yeah, we found it.
The patsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are pictures all over this place of Ronald Reagan. It's ridiculous how many pictures of Ronald Reagan are in here. They had him on the television. He's on every other wall. You know.
Yeah.
It's a Star
so it's all secretaries of state. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. They're showing him the video from the.
Why is he helping him?
Now, obviously, it wouldn't happen because he's in office at this time, but it would have been fucking amazing if they actually got Ronald Reagan to come in.
Oh, right. That would have been funny.
I don't think he ever did. Did he ever do a movie after he went into politics? I think was it The Killers was the last one, or
I'm not sure what the last movie.
I think it was The Killers. Somebody else, and somebody in the chat know what Ronald Reagan's last actual acting gig was. I'm pretty sure it was in The Killers, the movie The Killers.
But still, that would be fucking hysterical if, like, oh, the president wants to meet you, and they bring him in, and it's actually Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. And then they throw them straight out of a plane. I mean, they've not done any training. And then
there's no real training needed for a parachute drop.
Exactly.
At least for a static line drop of, we kick you out the door. You live or you don't.
So the last movie credit is The Killers from '64.
Yeah, that's
the last credit is 4 episodes of Death Valley Days.
Okay.
on television.
Because The Killers is a great movie. Killers is a good movie. Now this is in here because of the ninja craze of the 80s. Canon Films and started that craze. So
We've talked about that before with Canon Films, man.
And all the trees go like this. Now this is where some of the funniest lines are delivered. So
this is my sister.
Hang on.
I'll have her.
So he starts like this.
Okay. This is my sister. You can all have her. I hear she's very good.
And then the other one is this one.
For God's sake, show some balls. I think it's too late to try to impress him.
Try and impress them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Casey comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's there's my sister. She's pretty. You can all have her.
I hear she's good.
Yeah. Yes, Colonel Rhombus. No nonsense.
Check him out.
Booger 414 makes a great point about the line from the Bridge over the River Kwai about the chances of injury going up with each jump, so better not to practice. There is some point to that, yes.
Well, I do have an actual. Sorry about that. I forget the guy's name, but he did a parachute jump. Both chutes failed to open, and the man survived.
Oh, wow.
Not only survived, was completely uninjured.
You see, James Bond can do that shit because what he does is he goes like this and he goes after the guy in front of him with the parachute.
Well, but the thing was, he was an American paratrooper, and it was a standard, static line jump. And both chutes failed to deploy.
Did they partially deploy or just not at all?
Just didn't even partially deploy, but he tuck and rolled it, and for some reason he hit at the right angle and it worked.
He
was bruised up, but
there are people that survived massive falls before. Yeah, it's pure blind luck. But this is great. They put them through all this shit.
Aggravated body temperature.
Flamethrowers shooting at them.
Yeah.
I love the one where they do this.
Yes, the G-forces.
We just sit here. I couldn't do this. I'd be puking within seconds.
No, you wouldn't.
There's quite a few instances of people falling out of. This
scene reminds me of the time I visited a guy I was best friends with in college, and went down to visit him when he was in flight training at Pensacola, and he took me up in the back seat of an F-18 Delta. And I figured he was because obviously I've never been in a Hornet before. And he was just going to take me up, show me around, kind of do that. He did for the first 200 feet off the runway. Then he went damn near vertical, and he proceeded to try to make me sick for the next 90 minutes. Because air wing versus grunts.
Yeah.
I just read that comment. Oh my God.
I know the broken legs. Jesus. But then there's
the alpha put up, man.
Oh, the drowning in cow shit.
Oh, jeez.
That unfortunately happened to a number of guys on D-Day.
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunately that happened to a number of guys during the Normandy landings of either drowning in drainage ponds and stuff like that, or
I couldn't believe it. But then they had
got hung up on their chutes and couldn't get out.
I think the Guinness Book of Records isn't parachute jumping, but isn't there a air hostess survived a 29,000 feet fall in the tailplane of a broken up plane? Czech Airlines. Something like that.
I'd have to look that up, but it
survived.
Weird shit like that happens.
Yeah, and yet you can fall off a 5-foot wall and kill yourself.
Or you can, like you say, fall from 29,000 feet without a chute.
Yeah, this is my favorite one.
How physics works out in your favor that day.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, the impact area. Oh,
and then you go.
I can't remember what he called that. Elevation or something, gravity thing. But the part where they had their machine guns up, you missed the slide. Must have missed the part where he said it would be a shame to kill you guys right now.
That's right. But then they're going, okay, well, this has been fun, and we enjoyed the lunch. It was tuna casserole, and you can keep the stool samples, but we'd like to leave now.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a pretty. They're doing their best to kill them in the training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's trying to identify the fact that they are actually as stupid as they seem.
They are.
Because no sane person would, go through all of these tests.
Right.
Yeah.
And not realize that they're actually trying to kill them.
Yeah.
Weird shit happens. That's how we got 70s. That's right.
So we get the Ace Tomato Company dropping supplies in Pakistan.
Ace Tomato. I love that. They've eaten all this shit already.
And why are they wearing Foreign Legion hats?
They're in the Foreign Legion now. I love it. Yeah, a friendly crowd.
Well, hey, as someone who's been there, that is your typical Afghan welcome.
Yeah. It is, and he's reading the Pashto, which is, my friend here, if you spare my life, you can use my friend's head for polo. Oh, and then their supposed contacts turn up, looking very much like Ken out of Barbie.
I love how movies like this, even though they're all supposed to be on the same side, they make the guys who are on the more connected side of the house the most punchable douchebags you've ever met in your life.
Yeah. But these two guys,
exactly how it is.
But these two guys, because we find out that they're Russian agents, the Russians have taken an absolute caricature. Like, it's almost as if they'd watched Animal House as Russians and went, "This is what Americans look like." And they've taken the other house, the posh one, Delta, not Delta, but the other one. And they've said, "This is exactly what Americans look like. Prep school, whatever." I've got to take a leak. You need to go too, don't you? What are you, my mother? But they're actually not dumb. They have got skills. They're just kind of fish out of water, but they've got some skills.
Well, that's always the comic moments of things like Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase excel at, is that they're not stupid guys, but they're just kind of thrown in weird situations and
fish out of water. Yeah,
shit happens to them, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I love the jersey with the side sleeves. That's funny. Anyway, so they make their escape from the Russians, and it's because Danny Aykroyd's a nerd. I know every wristwatch in the world. See, nerds win every time. Or is he a geek? I never know the difference. This was filmed in Morocco, I think, this stuff. The Afghanistan scenes is Morocco.
Well, yeah, I mean, when they were filming this, the Afghan-Soviet war was still ongoing.
Raging.
Couldn't have filmed it there, and there's nowhere near enough mountains for that to be Afghanistan.
Yeah. Couldn't have. You couldn't film it there now.
Well, no, but I mean, even back then, there's no way that this was Afghanistan because A, the Soviets and Afghans were shooting the shit out of each other, and B, there's nowhere near enough mountains for that to be anywhere in Afghanistan.
They needed a Rambo appearance in this.
Not to mention the third Rambo movie that we don't talk about.
Yes. But yeah, here's where they fight. This is a Red Cross thing. I mean, immediately you find out that this place is full of doctors. Like, there's so many doctors. But what are they all doing there? I know it's meant to be a Red Cross thing, but none of them seem to be able to perform an operation. Hadley, it's such a... I mean, he's CIA too, but Yep.
I love how he's wearing bandoliers like Pancho Villa.
I know. Yeah.
Which I say that as it was kind of like an exaggerated thing that they did for this film. And then I saw some of the propaganda shit the Houthis have been putting out the last week, and they're wearing the exact same shit.
Some of them are, yeah.
Okay, so sometimes parody is not good enough. We have to reach beyond that.
Yeah, and then of course we get the scene again.
Doctor. 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 Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor. Doctor. Doctor. Doctor.
And there are more. I could only clip 9 seconds.
Right? Yeah, they went on for a while there.
Yeah. And it is a bit weird. Like, how many of doctors do you need?
Yeah, but he winks at the one doctor, right?
Well, because this
That's
is when he starts to chat
Yeah.
up them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out she's CIA, of course. But
She's a fangirl, right?
Yeah.
She digs the doc.
I know.
Read everything he's done. Obviously, never seen his picture before, though. Right?
No, that's right. How would you not know what he looked like? You know? She's a Karen as well. The most exciting moment of my life.
The gag here, though, man, is so funny, dude. He has nerd damage to one of his hands, right?
That's right. Yeah, he's so the other guy will have to do the operation. My colleague will have to do the operation.
Yep. But the way he shows her, he's like, "See, can't feel a thing."
But I don't get. I still don't get it. There's like 8 doctors here, and none of them could do this operation.
Right?
These 2 guys. Playing doctor with Donna Dixon seems
They
interesting.
wanted to
That's
see
true.
the famous ones do the work.
Yeah, we should play doctor with Donna Dixon, I think.
Well, I mean,
gynecologist, perhaps.
Severe nerve damage. Check him out.
I mean, all I have to say to that is I'm not an expert, but I'll take a look.
She's hand on the boob. I can't feel a thing.
She's like, "Damn, I'm so disappointed."
I wonder what Dan Aykroyd thought of that scene. I wonder if Dan Aykroyd was there when they filmed that, because that is his wife. Yeah, yeah. It's funny. She is a little bit accommodating towards him.
Yep.
Only having just made. It's charming, of course, supposedly. And then the Bob Hope scene comes after that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got all the stills, but yeah, he plays the shot comes in. The golf shot comes in. There he goes.
There he is. Yep.
I'm just going to play through. Thank God I'm not sick.
Right. Thank God I'm not sick. Yeah.
Bob Hope was a funny guy back in the day.
He was.
These movies. Die in the tent is just good. It's why you should die outside. I'll just step out for it. He goes, keeps going under to read the manual how to do an operation.
Jeez,
They're going to shave the guy. We start with the shaving, and
he goes for his beard.
He goes for the beard.
And then they go to make the first incision, right? And he aims for the chin.
His appendix is a bit lower. Don't tell me.
He's quick on his feet, though, yeah.
This is a new whatever. I just wonder if it would have been, if it had, I keep thinking all the way through, if it had been not been Chevy Chase, but it had been John Belushi, how it would it have been different, you know?
Yeah.
Perhaps wilder, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
He was cutting into his chest. I was really hoping they would actually have to cut into him. Like, how are they going to get out of this? I'm getting hungry. And of course, the minute they touch him, he dies. Luckily for them, in a sense.
Yeah, but before he does, he's watching the other doctors and they're giving him the cue. No.
Lower. Yeah. Cut the sucker. Hey, do you think could any of you do an emergency operation if you had to?
Yeah.
I mean, I probably could.
Would I throw up? Probably, but I could do it. Yeah.
Would I save the person? Probably not. But would I cut into them? Absolutely.
Because you know when you show someone that's been badly injured and their artery is broken, and you got to stick your hands in there and fix it, like hold it together or whatever.
Yeah,
I could do that if I knew, if I could identify it.
Anyway, buddy.
That's the problem. Is there's so much fucking blood coming out of there, you can't even see what you're looking at to cut it off.
Yeah.
There we go.
They got a lot of these action scenes filmed in this. You know, they added in some action, and I should actually just want to recommend a show if you want to see some really good television portrayals of operations. There's a Korean show called The Trauma Code, which is on Netflix right now. Brilliant show, and it's got some of the most, what I think look like realistic operating scenes. It's like a trauma team in the hospital. And I'm thinking, I was eating when I first watched it. I went, oh God, I had to put it down.
I'll have to.
And by the way, during the Afghan-Soviet War, a lot of the combat that they were doing was taking place on horseback.
Yeah.
Well, because horses can traverse much rougher terrain than armored vehicles and even wheeled vehicles can. So
yes, do you?
They would basically hit and run out of the mountains, come down into the valleys, just hit the Soviets, and then run away.
Yeah. So check out the Trauma Code just on Netflix. It's a fun Korean show.
Yeah,
One of the best.
I'll have to tell Foxy.
It's one of the best ever. Yeah, one of the best I've seen. Operation's realistic, but it's a fun show.
At one time, so yeah.
But this is where he fitted on all the cameos. But I love the use of the drive-in. I mean, it's just like a real spy movie. It's go for a Pepsi. You want a Pepsi?
You want a Pepsi?
Don't you want a Pepsi?
And also, some of that had to be product placement.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
they did that a lot back then.
Either that, or it was a meme of the time that no one would actually ask for Pepsi, so anyone who asked for Pepsi had to be giving the code word.
I guarantee you there was a 7-Eleven cup with Spies Like Us on it.
Probably, but they did that whole down the elevator thing, which is they were going to like 100 miles an hour. It would have died when they got to the bottom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They
would have been liquefied if it stopped that fast.
But it's such an example of if the CIA can do this shit, they would do it. Let's make it 5,000 feet down with a huge 500 mile an hour elevator.
Right.
Well, that's always been kind of the fun thing with a lot of science fiction has done stuff with drop pods of dropping guys from orbit directly to the point they need to be.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't do anywhere near enough in terms of explaining how the squishy humans are still alive on the other end of that impact.
Yeah. See, if Belushi had been in it, as Booger says in the chat, cheeseburger, might have been cheeseburger.
Oh God.
I do like the fact that these guys are meant to be the patsies, but they've done all right so far. I mean, they've survived. They've got escaped from the Russians. They're hanging out with the locals and getting away. They've got this far. They're figuring out what they're going to do. Not too bad, They're not doing too badly. They do have some skills. And here we see
single truck.
Yes, here we see your typical bus in Baltimore. I just picked a random American city.
And yes, for those of you who are not aware of the lingo of either American veterans or veterans who served in Afghanistan, like those brightly painted trucks and stuff like that, usually they have all sorts of not wind chimes, but strings of really mirror smooth metal on them. I don't know why, but they jingle all over the place, and that's why we call them jingle trucks.
My memory is so bad. Did we ever do a stream on the Andromeda strain?
Yes, we did.
Yes, you did.
I thought we did.
It was one of the first sci-fi ones you did. Matter of fact, that's the one that made you want to do more of them.
I was thinking, Tim, did we do that?
That got a bunch of views for you, man.
Yeah, I mean, because I do love those movies like that, this 70s, 80s sci-fi stuff. I have another video. Sorry, I missed it.
It still amazes me. Of all the great topics we've covered, Colossus is still the best video we've done.
Oh, and it's getting all the views every day, another 200 or 300, another 200 or 300.
I don't understand it. Maybe it's just that no one's heard of it.
Yeah.
But
I do get shitty comments about it saying, I came here to watch the movie. Where's the movie? It's a fucking copyrighted movie. You can't just show it.
I don't own the rights to it. Go
discussing the movie. We're not showing
you people are just talking. This is boring. Oh, well, maybe that could be true.
Vince, don't you get me started on Starship Troopers, the book versus the movie.
Yeah,
I did a book report for that for my command, and I actually got points towards promotion for it.
Yeah.
They do seem to be headed in that general direction. Maybe your dick's not so dumb. Got me through high school.
Maybe
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. There's another line where he says, "What's a dick for?" Because he said, "This is a real dick for." What's a dick for? Well, it's to pee with. It just throws that line in there. It's just funny. Anyway, yeah. So they're figuring out they got to get to the border, follow the woman that's the real agent, the real agents to figure out. Or the fact that they are other agents, they're not doctors or agents. Are they spies like us? He said.
Yes.
But he recognizes.
He said the thing. He said the thing.
Yeah, that's right. But not necessarily understood. But he figured out they've got equipment because he's a geek. He knows the gear. So So they're not dumb, which is, I like that. They didn't make them, like, it's not Dumb and Dumber.
No.
They actually have a few
They're
skills.
not idiots. They just haven't been trained. That's all. Yeah. And one of them's a total jock. Chevy Chase is the jock. I mean, he's the face guy, right?
Yeah. Well, he's a charming, handsome, womanizing. He is a negotiator. That's true. So I like what Booger says. Thank you for this comment, Booger. Is this kind of just talking about movies any different than the lively discussions we have had in hotel bars after a sci-fi convention? I think not, and that's what we're doing here.
That's
yes,
what we're doing. Yep.
That's what we do in these streams. We show as much as we can.
Yep.
And we love that because those conversations are some of the best you'll ever have.
Hell yeah.
And if we could show the movie, we would, but we can't.
Oh yeah, for sure. And talk all over it.
Yeah, talk all over it. We would do that, but
maybe there could be a Midnight Mass style thing like that for somebody else's channel.
Well, we can do it on Rumble. We can do stuff on Rumble as we did with the Van Halen thing. At least we could show some clips, and you do music shows and stuff. So
if I ever decide to do my dream music stuff, like a total thing on Linda Ronstadt or the Eagles, or the stuff that I really, really dig, I'd definitely do it on Rumble.
You have to, yeah.
I'm right here.
The next music show we do here, we're going to go over to Rumble like we did with the Van Halen. I'd like to say hello, though, over on Rumble to Dude Bro Seth 420. Well, good to see you. Mate, nice to see you over there. I'm up to 295 followers. I need 5 more followers on Rumble for 300. Even got some members over there now. And there are memberships available here on YouTube. Hit those emojis for those who are members. But anyway.
I'm just mad at my follower count on Rumble because ever since I hit 69, it keeps going up, and I'm not happy about that.
Damn it.
I like this. Sorry. This is a good quote from Nick. Hey now, Dumb and Dumber aren't that stupid. I mean, they figured out the girl's name on the suitcase. Samsonite. Very true. But this whole Russian scene, this shows his skills because he's not shitting himself. He's actually coping with it rather well and making
fine.
So he makes one of the best. He has one of the best lines in the movie, the best gags in the movie in that interrogation scene, which is this one.
Ow! And let that be a lesson to you.
Every minute you don't tell us why you're here, I cut off a finger.
Mine or yours?
And that's just before he's done the whole bit about why are you here? Well, why are any of us here?
Yeah.
Sartre, to quote John Paul Sartre, is it pronounced Sartre? How do you spell that?
Sartre, I think.
Yes, but that's how he copes with it pretty well,
Well, why are any of us here? Just like, oh god,
it still blows me away that's the guy from National Lampoon's Animal House, man, doing that Russian accent.
That's right.
Pretty good.
He is.
Anyone in the intelligence community, especially anyone who'd be interrogating someone, would have a philosophy background like that, and probably just shoot that man in the face as soon as he says that, because he's just spewing bullshit.
Objectifying a girl. So they moved the action has moved from now filmed in Norway, which is standing in for Siberia. Yes, but I got off a finger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one frozen hell is as good as another.
Wait a minute. I want to go back. Sorry. What I've been trying to figure out is what the hell that poster is in the background and what it's referring to, and I've never been able to figure it out.
It's probably a fictitious Russian 80s action movie.
It looks like it, doesn't it? If anyone
hold it here for a second. Let me get a clip of it, and I will try and find something out for you. Hang on.
It's maybe Russian for "See you next Wednesday."
Could be. Let's see.
Because if there's anything more amazing,
all right, I got it. Thank you.
I don't know if you guys have seen them, like some of the Chinese propaganda movies they've done against the United States, that makes the U.S. look like fucking badasses.
Yeah.
I don't know how much better it would be for the Soviets in the 80s to do an 80s version of like Commando.
Well, they probably did stuff like that. We just have never seen it. I mean, the Soviets were making movies where the West were the bad guys, and it was spy and action movies.
I know. It's just that they've never been really fully released, and I think that's because they've seen the Hollywood counterparts and kind of got penis envy about
Yeah,
that.
of course, the Russians
Just before Paula
preferred
went home.
the Russians preferred 4-hour movies about how grim and horrible life was.
Well, I
Existential.
mean, if their novels are to be believed, then yes, and that's not a Soviet thing. That's been a Russian thing since forever.
Yeah, Courtney's hiding in. Yeah, Courtney, what's going on in the chat, Courtney? Sorry, not sure what's. Yeah, Courtney seems sorry, Booger. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to restore those messages, and I'm not sure I can. Funnily enough, I'm trying to. Courtney, if there's something I should know, let me know. Sorry, Booger. I don't. We'll see if we can get that sorted. Oh, sorry, it was a pocket. Sorry, Booger. Courtney's pocket blocked you. She's a pocket blocker. She's like
it was in my pocket. Oh no!
She had her hand in her pocket blocking you. Sorry, Booger. Poor Courtney. Sorry, Courtney. I knew she wouldn't be doing. Yeah, I can't. I'm trying to restore them. I'm not quite sure if I can. If anyone knows how to restore messages, so sorry, Booger.
Apparently, Eric's saying you can't restore messages.
Oh shit! Sorry, Booger. Anyway, don't go away, please. It was a mistake. Sorry.
You've got a guy named Crimlon over on X. He says, "I love this movie."
Oh, Crimlon on X. Good to see you.
Courtney's back pocket robbed us of so much comedy gold.
Courtney was getting very personal with you, Booger. In a very intimate way. I'm just trying to look at the stream. And I actually, again, if the Twitter comments could be brought in by this software I use, that would be awesome. They currently can't be. So thank you, Crimlon, for being over there watching on Twitter, and anyone else is watching over on Twitter or X or whatever the hell they want to call it.
And if you're over there on X, I am recently back on the platform.
He is. So you can post Pope in the chat. You can post your Twitter handle. But anyway, the movie continues. And now,
Metal Pope 87.
So now they're back to the found Donna Dixon and confronting her about what she's up to.
And Aykroyd and her are having a marital spat. No, I'm just kidding.
She's figured out that they're the patsies, the dummies, and they weren't supposed to make it this far either.
Yep.
So they're going to try and rescue their buddy.
Well, actually, no. She's talking about the mission. And he's like, "Well, the hell with your mission. I got to go get my friend."
Yeah,
I love how it's the 1980s, and we're still like their cold weather gear is still like basically caveman pelts.
Caveman pelts. Well, hey, it worked for the cavemen for dozens of years. No, there's that poster. That's the poster for Warren Beatty's Reds movie.
Okay,
that's what's on the wall there. So that's a movie about American communists going to Russia.
Right.
So that's
I couldn't find anything on the other one. It's too blurred.
Yeah, but that's Warren Beatty's Reds that's on the wall there. I'm glad Booger's back though. Yeah, this is quite funny because I hate guns, but he's still pretty good at using them. They've kind of gone for this. Not too much comedy in this. It's more kind of a straightforward spy.
They tried to make it a spy movie at the same time. They did. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's Reds.
That's Reds. Yeah,
Warren
that's
Beatty.
Warren Beatty. You can see him.
Luckily, it's about to get blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boom. There you go. Quite a spectacular view from this place in Norway.
Best thing about Warren Beatty's his wife. So.
Well, I mean,
I think she's cute.
He's been married to what's her name for quite a long time. Yeah, for quite a long time now. Yeah.
Yep.
He is reputedly the guy. There was one of the guys they always used to say was the subject of the song "You're So Vain." But
there's actually 3 different candidates.
Yes, David Geffen's another one.
David Geffen, Warren Beatty, and James Taylor.
James Taylor, her ex.
Because he did have connections. But yes, look at the size of that missile.
Knowing what I know about James Taylor, especially because he's actually from Western Massachusetts,
Mm.
my money's on him.
Yeah.
You know, the weirdest thing about James Taylor is growing up, obviously, all those early James Taylor albums, he had the long hair. And then 20 years later, I saw this guy, this bald guy playing the guitar on TV, and I went, who's that?
Yeah,
James
he had a
Taylor.
cameo on, you probably saw him on the West Wing. He was playing at the White House on the West Wing, and he was bald. Yeah.
Wait, where did that go? One of these long-haired hippies.
Yep.
Well, he suffered from what I'm suffering from, of a lack of follicular fortitude.
This follicular forward. I do like this scene. I mean, if that's a real prop, it's a fairly big prop they built there. Yeah. But they're just. This is when they find the ICBM and we start to get our first Vanessa Angel.
Yes. Oh my God.
Look at the size of that. Yeah, it's not hooked into sewer defense, so they've got no connection to. There we go.
Vanessa Angel next to a sturdy cylindrical object. What? Imagine that.
I know we've had it before, but we're going to have it again.
Let me see that.
And they start,
complete with James Bond music in the background.
Yeah, and Donna Dixon doesn't quite understand. So, yeah, that's very Bond. There's a few Bond elements in the theme. He does do it very well, Bernstein. It's a great score. I mean, he's a fantastic score composer. But yeah, they're now having the debate about what they're going to do about this because they don't want to go down and kill anybody.
No.
But she knows that they got to do in their mission. They don't quite understand their mission yet.
No, they don't.
Because it's not
any of them knew what they were.
It's not what they think it is. Yeah.
Well, because especially the decoy team wasn't told.
That's right. So this is when Donna Dixon gets her best line of the movie.
I think you both should realize the gravity of this moment. I have spent the last 2.5 years of my life preparing for this penetration.
I will admire her acting ability to be able to deliver that line with a straight face.
How many times would you have to? I mean, I would be pissing myself laughing.
For about at least 10 to 15 of them.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah.
Depending on how much time you give me between takes, I might be able to come down off it and settle down.
Yeah.
But if it's back to back, I'm gonna need a minute.
That's right. I'm gonna need a minute, Don. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'd say, are you prepared now? Are you ready?
Shows them we're not going to have to kill anybody.
Yeah, they came out with the get out.
Guns. Yeah,
they get out for them. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, and this is where I loved the whole. I think I couldn't really clip it because it was too long, but the opening up of the
drive-in movie thing turned into the mirror
doors open,
reflective place. Yeah,
lasers come out, the screens are up.
Which I love the fact that they created this when War Game just literally used NORAD.
That's right.
Everyone already knew existed.
Yeah.
This whole scene was great. I mean, I don't know whether it was models or whatever, but it looks really cool. I mean, that
looks like something out of a James Bond movie.
Yeah, or like a Starship Troopers or something. You know, it's a pretty cool weapon, that. And now you know why they're using a drive-in. Because it's just the right size. It's got the screens which they can use.
They flip it to the mirrors.
Yeah. It's all pretty damn cool. But meanwhile, they're grooving down here.
What's the music reference here? I forgot.
It's Barcase. It's
Barcase. Every one of us had a ghetto blaster like that.
Ghetto blaster.
All had one, man. We all had one.
I remember that.
Called it back in the day because from my era, that's called a boombox.
We called it a ghetto blaster.
Called it a ghetto blaster. Yeah, that's.
But I remember when I bought my first one, I was so excited, and it had a detachable cassette that you could use as a Walkman type thing.
Yeah.
Also, why are all the guards attractive women?
Well, There's a couple of guys.
Oh wait, there's a couple of dictators in Libya that would, like to answer that question.
But there's they're easily fooled by this setup.
The aliens, yes.
Yeah.
Aliens have landed.
Yeah.
You know what I thought was funny? That lead girl, the mama, they called her the mama bear.
Yeah.
She kept stepping into the snow. Usually snowshoes and snow that deep, you could tell how deep the snow was. She kept going knee high into it.
Yeah. She was the
mama. They're not wearing snowshoes. They're just wearing,
they're lucky not all of them were doing that. You know what I mean? She kept going through it.
Well, they all should. But women are light enough that, if it's solid frozen enough, they may be able to walk on top of it.
Yeah. But she kept going knee high into it a couple of times. And I was like, yeah, she must have small feet. She's penetrating right through the snow.
Yeah. She was prepared for penetration too.
Yes, she was.
So they end up launching this damn thing. I don't know if that was what their intention was all along, but that's what happened.
I wonder if these guards have been a descendant of that evil, nasty, awful Zoot.
Maybe. Yeah. So they've got these guys
piled up like cordwood next to the fire.
Yeah. So I don't know if launching it was always their intention. Like they don't. I mean, that's the intention of these guys. I don't know if it was their intention as the spies. Like they didn't want nuclear war. They didn't know about any of this stuff either. No. I love the Thunderbird style satellites. Thunderbirds 1. There he goes. Thunderbirds 2.
Which, by the way, I actually we've been talking about that a couple of episodes ago, and then Thunderbirds actually just came up as a recommendation on Amazon Prime for me.
Oh, it's great! I love the old Thunderbirds.
I remember watching it as a kid.
Yeah,
and so I'm gonna have to go rewatch it because I remember it being awesome.
That lady Penelope, she was a real fox. But yeah, Thunderbirds, those wonderful Jerry Anderson models, just so good. Look at this. You see, this is fully erect.
It formed the basis for Team America.
It did, yes. Team America's Gonzo Thunderbirds.
It's ready for deep space penetration.
Yeah. Well, this is all pretty good effects and.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So off it goes. I'm not sure why the Russians, when they woke up, wouldn't just kill them all.
Right. We wouldn't have got the joke we got, though.
That's true.
Yeah. All of them pairing off for the end of the world.
That's right. I guess they figured, well, there's no point now.
Well, I mean, to be fair to the script, that is actually kind of it. Like, well, the missiles are in the air.
Yeah.
That's the end of everything.
What have we got time for?
You want to just go fuck until it all goes away?
Yeah. Well, that would take 30 seconds. I've still got 20 minutes to drink afterwards.
Well, I mean, see, here's the thing. You have to prioritize.
What did Dan Aykroyd say in the 10, 15 minutes? We still got 15 minutes to go.
That's right. Hopefully going to do that. Well, here he is in the tent. This is where he's bemoaning.
So Chevy and the Doc take off, right?
Yeah.
And then they've got the mama bear and one of the guys, and then two of the guys start looking at each other.
That's right. Yeah.
Such a short time to destroy a world. And to think my high school guidance counselor said I'd never amount to anything.
Never amount to anything. He's going to destroy the world.
Right.
Stingray, another great show. Yes. Read by Nature. Drew 90 was one of my favorites. That was one of my favorite Jerry Anderson shows. Drew 90. Of course, we went into UFO and Space 1999.
And then Dan Aykroyd gets the lucky straw.
That's right. Hello.
Although another later sci-fi show I wanted to shout out because I don't know who else remembers it.
Space
Precinct. If you're a Babylon 5 fan, on Amazon Prime right now for free, Crusade just popped up.
All right, Crusade. I don't know if I've watched that. I don't think I've watched that. I thought you were going to say Space Precinct, which is out. A lot of releases of that are coming out on physical media, which was a Jerry Anderson show.
First time I've ever actually seen Crusade since it was on the Sci-Fi Channel in like 2002.
Wow, I'm going to go look for that then. So I'm going to show this clip here. That's peak 80s sci-fi effects right there.
Yep.
So
because combining lasers into larger lasers is how that works.
That's right. So this is their plan is to prove that their missile defense system, Star Wars, is going to work.
It's going to work.
Unfortunately, just outside. Just outside. Misses by 20 feet. No.
Like a poor marksman, you keep missing the target.
It definitely didn't get. But what did it hit, you may ask?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
What actually did it hit?
Wow.
There goes MTV.
Great. MTV got blown off the map.
Yeah. And that's because if you think about it now, we're used to everything being internet fiber or whatever. Then it was a satellite. You had a satellite dish. You had to watch that shit using a satellite.
Actually, it was cable back then. I don't think they'd started satellites in '85, but everything was broadcast.
It was slightly different.
Satellites, but I'm pretty sure it was still cable.
It was actually different in the UK. We had satellite dishes on the side of the house.
Really?
And Sky TV was the first
in
big
the
satellite provider. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So you had everything was getting beamed down on the satellite, and it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, we still had cable.
This guy's ready to settle in for 17 months. Yeah, okay, we've started through World War III. It'll be over.
Yeah, first
soon.
thing I'm thinking is, oh, great. You know, that they didn't really care if it worked or not because, you know, they're going to start World War III and pop it off.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about it. I made this note about the music. When Donna Dixon was doing her penetration speech, the music playing in the background was God Save the Queen. For some reason.
Oh, I thought you meant the punk version, which would have been much more appropriate.
Right.
Yeah, well, it could have been. Yeah, the Sex Pistols version would have been. But yeah, people had
I actually severely dislike the Sex Pistols version. The Motorhead version is far better.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
By the way, if you guys
it's as heavy and punchy as the original should have been.
I love the Pistols. I did love them. What are you saying, Joe? Sorry?
I was going to say, if they're wondering what's going on in the slides, Dan Aykroyd's figured out a way to stop it.
He's smart guy.
Traffic here. He's trying to get it done.
He knows it can be reprogrammed.
Right.
Should have just let it land in Washington. Would have been fine.
Right.
Well, I love how that was the attitude back then. I was like, "Oh my God, it's going to nuke Washington!" And nowadays, the attitude for the entire
let it go, right?
Like, just let it go.
Oh no!
Well,
terrible.
Think of Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks. They nuke Congress. Oh, they attack Congress.
Yeah, right. We'd be holding up. We'd be. In my case, I'm right next to the Blue Ridge. So we'd be like running up to the top of the Blue Ridge to watch the flash.
So Tim's saying there was a cameo there by Jim Henson's daughter, Heather.
Really? Huh.
Somewhere in there. Sorry, I missed it, Tim, but thank you for
pointing that out. This guy was actually on the nightly news back then, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a real guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these guys have been promoted because they saved the world.
And Nick the Greek, that is a great suggestion. Mars Attacks. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah,
I love Mars Attacks. I love how they think they can keep negotiating with the aliens, and the aliens don't give a shit.
Speaking of negotiations, check out how they're negotiating in here. This is great.
Yeah,
they're playing trivia.
It's a cross with Risk and Trivial Pursuit. It's two games in one. Now the question is, which he asks them, is, which Little Richard song was the title of the 1958 movie starring Jane Mansfield?
Yeah,
and the Russians are like, do you use the one we use at the start of this show, Good Golly Miss Molly? We all know it's not that, of course.
No.
It's the Jane Mansfield, stunningly dressed and in The Girl Can't Help It.
Girl can't help it. That's it.
Yeah. Hey, Nick. Thank you very much, Nick. Appreciate that very much, my friend. So Nick the
Free
Greek.
on YouTube? Wow.
Nick the Greek, $1.99 from Nick the Greek. Mars Attacks is free on YouTube. FYI, I didn't. That is weird, eh? That would be free.
Yep. But they lost Eastern Europe because they didn't get that question right. So wipe them off.
Lost. That's right. That's where the risk part comes in. Yeah. So thank you very much, Nick, for helping to support the channel. Appreciate it very much, mate. Anyone that's if there's any members in the chat, just throw some emojis in there. I have emojis, you know. Get all these emojis. I'm gonna place them all in there. There's all my emojis. Nick, we got to play a little bit of a clip from one of our comedy things that we've done in the past. Let's have this one.
Father, I finished digging that drainage ditch.
No, Mrs. Doyle.
Now, I know you wanted me to clean those roof slates tonight.
Mrs. Doyle, no, don't.
No, I thought I might do them tomorrow when there's less chance of me falling off and being killed.
Father Ted. For St. Patrick's Day, playing a Father Ted clip.
That's right.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, Father Ted is one of the greatest comedies of all time. We've covered it on here. And you know what?
Just love it.
I may only be an Irish American, but Jesus Christ, does he embody the spirit of the Irish? We don't give a shit and make fun of everyone.
The funny bit about that one is that because they've got Claire Grogan's character who's a feminist author or whatever there, and that's why it's funny that his fathers go, "Oh, we're feminists too," and whatever, and poor Mrs. Doyle comes in, she's been digging a ditch. And
No, the best one would have been, "Oh, I hear you're a racist now, Father."
You're a racist now, Father. In the window, and you can just tell throughout the episode, you think, "I know what's going to happen to that black dot in the window. I know what's going to happen."
And especially the one where he has the fucking lampshade on his head.
I know, that's right. The chain.
Oh my God, Father Ted.
Why
British comedy is better than American is because even back in the day, we weren't allowed to go to that level.
So I would recommend anyone that's fairly new here, or even those that have been here for a while, go back, look at the playlist on my channel for all the previous cult comedy crews we've done, and we've had things there like Father Ted, Blackadder, The Young Ones. We did Evil Roy, Slade. We've had Monty Python, The Holy Grail, a whole bunch of stuff. So go check those out. But if you've never seen Father Ted, watch that show and you'll get some of the best, most fabulous clips from one of the funniest shows ever made. Can't recommend it highly enough.
In terms of serial TV shows, like Monty Python, Blackadder, and Father Ted are three of the fucking best.
Yeah.
Mind if I use your phone? If word gets out that I'm missing, 500 girls will kill themselves. I wouldn't want them on my conscience. Not that they want to be on my face.
The late Rick Mail from Blackadder. But anyway, the Creeks invented homosexual.
Oh
the
my
IT
God.
crowd is
I think
crazy.
Blackadder, especially as a veteran, like especially the World War I focused episodes, are just so dark.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny to us, but to normal people, it's like, wow.
What? Yeah.
About that.
It takes a special skill to do that, yeah. But,
anyway,
that was Spies Like Us. Not the funniest movie ever made necessarily, but I think over time I've grown to appreciate it more for the other elements, which are just the sort of spy action thriller parts with the comedy bits just fitting in nicely here and there. So one of the least remembered, given all the other stuff we know Dan Aykroyd particularly did and John Landis did. Probably one of the least noticed ones, but it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And it's a fun movie. I mean,
yeah.
Especially, like you say, like in the height of the spy movie craze and all of that in the 80s, we still got a funny movie that didn't go over the line into pure just satire or ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think John Landis and co. treated it fairly. They played it straight. Generally speaking, it was played as pretty straight. The comedy wasn't too broad, and they did have the whole spy plot going on, so it wasn't just thrown together. I think it's a difficult balance. I think they did pretty well. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. Speaking of comedy and British comedy, I picked this up for 99 cents in the thrift store. If you've never seen this, John Cleese, How to Irritate People.
Oh my God.
And it's hard to get a copy of this. It's not easy.
I have a copy of that.
Yeah. I've got the VHS of it. It is freaking hilarious. John Cleese.
That's one of the greatest comedy specials of all time. And also, I forget the name of it, but it's the Robin Williams comedy special from like 2003.
Yeah,
Reality no, 2003. That's Live at the Met. The one from the 70s is
no, not the one from the 70s. It's way later.
I know. It's Live at the Met.
Terrible.
Yeah. I'm a big
Live on Broadway, I think.
Is it Live on Broadway?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it might be.
Both of them came out about the same time, but the first one he had was Reality What a Concept. I had the album, and I had
the one he did right after 9/11. Oh my God, I didn't think it was possible to make fun of everything in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But he did it.
Yeah, he did. I think that's the same show where he tells how the Scottish invented golf too.
Yes, that's the same one.
Yeah.
And
hilarious.
That's why he will always be probably my favorite comedian of all time. He's
one of my top. My all-time favorite would be Billy Connolly. His stand-up.
Sam Kinison down here.
See, the funny thing is, I never knew him as a comedian because I saw the Boondock Saints at a young age.
But his stand-up through the 70s, 80s, and 90s just phenomenal.
Well,
and Robin Williams was hugely influenced by Billy Connolly. He's like the godfather of all these modern stand-ups.
Well, yeah, but you guys know him for that. I know him as the dad in Boondock Saints.
I know. Bloody Scotsman playing an Irishman makes me annoyed. Anyway, one more Irish clip from Father Ted for St. Patrick's.
Okay, one last time. These are small, but the ones out there are far away. Small, far away. Ah, forget it.
So anyway, we're going to get started wrapping up. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thank you in all the chats. We had YouTube. We had Rumble. Lots of people chatting over there. Thank you all for being here. Thank you on Twitter for anyone that was watching and chatted like Crimlon. As I say, one of these days we'll get these bloody chats all into one thing here.
Every time we do a show together now, I've got all three chats over here. I just pop them all out on one screen.
Talk Studio is the problem. It doesn't integrate them like some other ones do. But yeah, and so yeah, as links are getting posted for memberships and all that good stuff. Thanks to everyone who's super chatted. Thank you to the mods, D-Bud Martin. Thank you, buddy, for everything you do modding over in Rumble. Vince has been modding all day. Thank you too, buddy. And anyone else has done stuff like that, like posting links. I hope I didn't miss any super chats. I think I got them all.
Hey, if you've got D-Bud Martin and Vince Womack in the chat, you're covered. You don't even have to.
These guys are just so good to me, and I appreciate it all very much. So yeah, I mean, make sure everybody... I'm almost at 2,000 subs, so anyone that hasn't subbed, please hit that button and subscribe, see if we can get to 2,000. Nothing magical will happen, but at least it's just a number. But hey, we'll have a celebration.
Now, can I get a commitment? If we ever get to 40,000, we get to do a Warhammer 40K stream.
Then well, look, if we ever did get to 40,000, I am committing right now to doing that stream.
Yes.
I promise if we get to 40. I thought you were going to say, would I dress like Culture Casino? But that would be just a step too far.
Well, no. I mean, Obviously, we're just going to cover one of the greatest sci-fi franchises ever written.
Tina Guzman has taken a membership. Thank you, Tina. She has a membership at the flock level. I'm so pleased that you've done that. Thank you very much, Tina. I appreciate it very much. It's funny, I don't know if I've got on this profile my actual clips I use for members. I do have a sheep-related one for the flock.
Boy, that was really something. I never thought it could be like this. Never in my wildest imagination. You're really something special.
So that's what it's like to be part of the flock. But thank you for that, Tina, and anyone else that supported us. Help keep the links on here for an old tired guy. So we have fun. That's the whole point of this channel, is let's have some fun, talk about the things we love. Hope, my friend, thank you for being here. What would you like to plug?
Well, I mean, my life is in absolute turmoil right now in terms of what I'm actually able to do in the next week or two. But after that, I will be on Rumble every Saturday night at 11 Eastern for Midnight Mass. And for those of you who don't know, Midnight Mass is my little 2-hour. If you guys remember the old radio shows, the House of Hair with Dee Snider or Nights with Alice Cooper on American radio, that's what I kind of try to do. And then I play 2 hours of what I like, what I think, what's new, and also what I think is underrated. And also some classics in there too, just to keep you guys interested. So hopefully, if you guys love classic heavy metal, if you guys love new heavy metal, or whatever, that's what I do.
Look, I've heard you playing the Osmonds on there. I know that's not what you're not doing metal.
After that, you're getting an entire Osmond stream just to yourself.
Crazy Horses. Crazy Horses. Have you ever listened to somebody sent me the clip of Crazy Horses sped down from 45 to 33 and a third? It's like Black Sabbath. Honestly, it's brilliant. It's the most
metal thing. Because it's not played different, it's slowed down.
It's the most metal thing you've ever heard at 33 and a third. It's brilliant.
Well, yeah, because at a third slower, it's an octave lower than it should be.
Yeah, but anyway, well, check out Midnight Mass because it is a lot. I learned stuff on it that I've never heard. Thank you, Pope, for introducing me to so much good stuff I would never have heard of without you. So thanks for that. Imperitus, my friend, how are you?
Yeah.
What would you like to tell us?
Well, you don't leave it open-ended like that, are you?
Look out.
I am. Anything you want to say?
Well, this is one of my favorite 80s movies. I have a soft spot for it. It's one of the ones I can remember going to my grandmother's house for Christmas, and my uncles would always go and rent a movie for later in the day of Christmas or the day after. I remember seeing Flash Gordon there. I remember seeing this like that. So there's a soft spot.
Nice.
For this movie. And as far as plugs, tomorrow I will be on Mad's new channel. Yes, that's the name of the channel.
That's the name of the channel. That's right. Yeah.
Talking more about something Irish, I'm sure, because he's had that plan for this month.
Right.
Thursday I'll be likely gaming with Slender on Ascendant Arcade, and then Friday on Ascendant Art.
Cool. Well, I'll be on Ascendant Art with you. It's always my pleasure to join up with you on that show on the Ascendant Art channel. So check that channel out, everybody. We have a lot of fun Friday night. Usually do some trivia as well as other stuff. I think you should be telling Mad to do the movie Darby O'Gill and the Little People starring Sean Connery, which is a Disney movie from the 50s.
I'm very familiar with it.
But thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate it very much. I'm glad you like this movie. That's great.
I said, like you said, it's not the funniest movie, but the funny parts are funny.
Yeah. I think if
It's
they'd made
very
it
much so classic Aykroyd.
Yeah, I think if they'd made it too slapstick and funny, it would have perhaps detracted a bit from it, even just from the plot. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I'm quite fond of it too, but I was fond of everything from that era. So, what a great era for movies! Absolutely brilliant era. Joe, my friend, well, as always, it's an absolute pleasure for you to be here. I mean, for me to have you here. Anything you'd like to plug?
Oh man, my schedule's up there. All you have to do is go to upcoming live streams on my page on YouTube and check that out. I am continuing my playthrough of Mass Effect 2 for the first time. It's part 4.
You got
tomorrow night at 10.
How are you liking that, by the way?
I'm enjoying it, but remember this, guys. My mother is going to be living with me starting in mid-April. She's back down to Louisiana because she cannot stay in Maine by herself. So that is going away. I am not going to be sitting here right next to my mother's home drinking and hollering at the game. So enjoy it while it's here. It's in its last month, and that's going to be going on. I'll be moving it.
If I can ask, what's your opinion of it so far, as someone who played it when it first came out?
I'm digging it, man. It's cool. It's
great game.
You know, I played the first one through and I enjoyed it. This second one, I thought the opening was very interesting to me. He's Frankenstein, man. They killed him, you know, and I thought that was pretty neat. So we'll see what happens. I know the chick that's in this is hot as all get out, but I'm just wondering how she's surviving every firefight because, oh my God, man, she's barely got any armor on.
You got to tap Miranda and you got to do Liara.
I hear you.
It's the only reason I played that game.
That's tomorrow night at 10.
No, I love those games.
Stay the Atmosphere Wednesdays, my comic book stream on Fridays, and always my brother and I get together every Sunday to hack the Matrix. So you guys, thanks for having me on, Brian. You know, I love being here, and this is one of my favorite movies. I do dig Spies Like Us. I've heard all the stuff about Chevy Chase, him being a big asshole and everything, but you know what? The guy was talented. I have not seen a movie with him in it I did not like, man.
It doesn't matter to me. Yes, as long as the movie's good. Yep. Thanks for being here, mate, and enjoy the rest of Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect games are some of the best things I've ever done in my life. Or playing those
shout
games.
out to the McBriarty fan, the McBriarty clan up in Maine. Right now, they all got together for a few little Saturdays. So there's a lot of Irish people in northern Maine right now.
Up until the last 5 minutes are the best gaming you'll ever do.
Yeah.
And then the ending of 3 and Andromeda happens.
You got to get over that. But in terms of, you have to just forget about that and enjoy the rest of it for what it is.
There you go.
I would like to give a shout out to two of my Irish friends, Patrick Fitzgerald and Gerald Fitzpatrick. Those guys are very close friends. So I'm sure they're out there having a good time somewhere today. So next week, funnily enough, I think because I'm pretty busy this week as for me in terms of IRL stuff, so we may do what we just did last week, which is I did a Baldur's Gate 3 stream, playthrough stream. Joe joined me on that and we chatted away while I played Baldur's Gate 3. So I think that might be the plan next week because I don't have time to prep anything, be more strenuous because of other reasons. So that's probably happening next week. But I am working on a couple of videos because that always falls behind. But I've got a video about a great Korean movie I watched recently called Firefighters. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, we could also do a essentially virtual tabletop session every so often with Baldur's Gate 3 because that is D&D 5th edition.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, for sure, because it's a game I'm getting into heavily now. So, still, I have to reload so many times.
I'll be here for it, buddy.
Yeah, so
but it also includes multiplayer. So we could create a party.
We could. So we'll talk about that for sure. But yeah, I'll be probably doing that next week. Look out for a couple of videos. Later tonight, I'll be on Comics Division, Monday Night Meltdown. Tomorrow night, in opposition to Mad, Nick's long-running Toxic Tuesday, which I'm a part of. I think we're doing The Transporter, Jason Statham, tomorrow night. That's what we're talking about. what we're talking about, and then other stuff during the week. I mentioned this in our Saturday night bourbon and boarding, and the week will continue, and another week will continue, and another one. Once again, thank you everyone for being in the chat. You've been freaking fantastic today on all platforms, YouTube, Rumble, and X. We will see you all again very soon. So till next time, keep on rocking.